Okay, I want you to think for just a second about your own business. Where does work get stuck? Where does it get repeated or just delayed? Because look, we all have those bottlenecks, right? The messy handoffs, the endless chains of approvals where value just literally leaks away. Well, today we are going to completely change how you look at those bottlenecks. Welcome to this explainer. We are demystifying AI agents. We're going to strip away all the magic, all the buzzwords, the hype, the whole shebang, and we're going to look at exactly how AI agents operate in real, everyday business workflows. So let's dive right in with a core rule, and this is going to anchor absolutely everything we talk about today. Ready? A chatbot just talks. It just gives you information. But an agent? An agent takes real action. Now, that distinction might sound kind of small, but I promise you it changes absolutely everything. If a tool only answers your questions, well, it's really just an information hub. But the absolute second, it can make a decision, invoke other tools, check its own outcomes, and actually move a task forward, boom, it is now actively touching your operation. Once you stop treating these things like some sort of magical black box, the reality is actually incredibly practical. An AI agent is really just organized behavior, sitting right there at the intersection of language, logic, and action. Language is what tells the agent what's happening. Logic is what helps it choose the next best step. And action, that lets it actually go in and push buttons in a system to get the job done. It's not just intelligence floating around in the abstract. It's highly organized behavior built for your specific business environment. And here is the absolutely crucial turning point. Unlike a standard chatbot where, you ask for directions once and then the interaction just ends, an agent works in a continuous loop. It's much more like having a competent office assistant handling a project for you. They don't just give you a one-off answer and walk away, right? They assess the situation, they choose a move, they actually see if that move worked, and then they keep going until the job is fully done. To really picture this loop in your head, think about making a proper cup of chai. You don't just make tea in one single instant. No, you perceive the kettle. You decide if the water's ready. You act by adding your tea, your milk, the spices. Then you check the color, right? And finally, you adjust the taste if it's maybe a bit too weak. If you skip that check step, well, you're going to end up with a pretty terrible cup of tea. And that is the exact machinery of an AI agent. Perceive, decide, act, check, and adjust. Honestly, most business work is exactly this, a sequence of small, checked decisions. Now, because an agent operates in this continuous loop, it totally changes how we actually give it instructions. See, a standard prompt is just a one-off request, something like, hey, summarize this email. And then it just sits there, waiting for fresh instructions. But a goal, something like resolve this customer issue, that gives the agent a target state to work toward across multiple steps. Think of it like a delivery rider navigating city traffic. They aren't just moving a box. Their goal is a successful delivery. So if they hit a closed road, they don't just stop and give up, right? No way. They reroute, they adjust, and they keep trying until they hit that target. I actually see people get kind of confused here a lot. They tend to think that the tools an agent uses, like a CRM or a database, maybe an email client, they think those tools are the agent itself. Actually, scratch that. They aren't. A tool extends capability for sure, but the agent is the thing that chooses when and why to use that tool. It's just like a kitchen filled with the sharpest knives and the best pans. That kitchen isn't smart until a chef comes in and uses them in a specific sequence. An AI agent isn't the software it connects to. It's the brain coordinating all those tools toward a single goal. But we have to remember, agents aren't these free-floating, all-powerful minds. Even the absolute best driver on familiar roads still has to obey lane rules and speed limits, right? And agents are exactly the same. They must operate strictly within your business constraints. We're talking permissions, policies, available data, time limits, and risk tolerance. An agent that just drafts an internal email, okay, that's relatively harmless. But an agent that approves financial payments without any human checks, yeah, that is a massive risk. Your specific business environment has to dictate and shape what is actually possible. Which brings us to a bit of a harsh reality check. Let's be real for a second. In business, just sounding smart is not enough. An AI model can sound incredibly impressive, it can output beautifully written paragraphs, and still be completely useless to your actual operations. If the agent doesn't resolve the issue or move the task forward or actually save you time, well, it's just like a cashier line that looks incredibly busy, but nobody is actually checking out. Effective completion is quite literally the only metric that matters here. Not impressive conversation. So, where does this outcome-driven loop actually live day to day? Well, it lives inside your workflow. But keep in mind, the agent is not the workflow itself. It's a participant inside it. Think of your existing workflow, all the forms, the handoffs, the endless approvals. Think of that as a road network. The agent is simply a driver navigating that exact road network with a purpose. It fits best right in those spots where work requires moving a case from point A to point B. When we really look at where these drivers add value, they reduce friction in 3 very specific places. First, right before a human even sees the work, they do the messy, tedious job of classifying requests and routing them so everything is perfectly teed up for you. Second, while you're working, they act as a co-pilot, instantly pulling up policy text or comparing invoices, which massively compresses your reasoning time. And third, they close the gap after you're done, doing the follow-ups, the system updates, and the tagging that us humans, well, let's face it, we almost always forget or delay those parts. Now, if you look closely at those 3 areas, a really interesting hidden pattern emerges. Businesses leak the most time during transitions, the seams between steps. It's that exact moment when a customer complaint needs to become a logged support case, or when a human decision needs to become a system-wide update. Each transition sounds small on its own, but this is exactly where agents excel. They act as the ultimate bridge between different types of information and action. Imagine your business workflow is a river. The water, that's the work. The banks are your business rules, and the checkpoints along the way are your approvals. The agent is a guide that just helps that water keep moving. It's not there to replace the river itself. It's simply acting as a guide, actively clearing out clogs, stopping things from getting misrouted, and preventing delays from overflowing the banks of your operations. It just keeps things flowing. And deciding just how deep into that river an agent should go really comes down to 3 levels: assist, coordinate, and act. Look, a lot of AI projects fail spectacularly. Why? Because the team jumps straight to the high-risk act level, direct system action, when, honestly, all they really needed was a low-risk assist agent to draft some summaries, or maybe a medium-risk coordinate agent just to route emails. Matching the agent's level of autonomy to the actual business need, that is exactly how you scale without inviting total disaster. Because of those escalating risks, there is a bit of an uncomfortable truth we have to face. The more an agent touches your workflow, the more you need really strict boundaries. You have to ask, what can be automated blindly? What absolutely must be reviewed by a human? What triggers an immediate escalation? Without these guardrails, you just lose control. And that is why agent design is really just workflow design in disguise. A well-designed agent doesn't just make the work faster, it makes the entire workflow inherently easier to trust. By understanding all of this, the continuous loops, the goals, the tools, the guardrails, and those absolutely vital workflow seams, you've now crossed a critical line. You have shifted from being just a passive user of AI to adopting a true builder mindset. You're no longer just asking that vague, unhelpful question, hey, can AI do this task? Instead, you're looking at your operations like an architect and you're asking, what kind of work is this, and where would a decision loop actually reduce real friction? So to take everything from this explainer out of theory and into practice in your own business today, I want to leave you with one critical question. Look at your own daily operations tomorrow morning and ask yourself, where exactly does work get stuck, repeated, or delayed? Find that exact bottleneck, because I promise you, that is exactly where your first AI agent belongs. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.